Okay, now this is another Regents question here. And this one specifically is asking us for what is the domain of the function f of x is equal to x squared plus x minus 12. So right away, because of the x squared, I recognize that this here is in fact a quadratic function. And if we know anything about quadratics, this is actually a super easy question, is quadratic functions are always defined on a domain from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, those are the x values, right? Any x value that is put into this here is always going to work. Okay, now what we can always do with the question that asks about domain or range is we can also graph those guys. So this here is x squared plus x minus 12. Okay, so I've got my TI graphing calculator here, x squared plus x minus 12. Now, if I go over to y equals here and I graph it, x squared plus x minus 12, I take a look at the graph. I can see here a quadratic like I'm expecting. But again, this question hinges on the fact that we need to understand the difference between domain and range. So if I were to look at my table, I can see here that my x values are always defined. Okay, it doesn't matter how low I go in the negatives, doesn't matter how high I go, it's always going to be defined. Now, these other answer choices that are here between 1, 3, and 4 is hoping that you get confused and maybe mix it up with like the range. Okay. But this specific one is talking about domain. Our domain is always going to be for every single x value. Now, if the question did happen to ask us about the range instead of the domain, I would be focused on the vertex here, and I would note that it's defined everywhere going up from this vertex here. And of course, I can't see the vertex on the graph, so that's where I might want to pivot and instead look at the table, figure out what the smallest y value is, and go from there. So right here, I can tell it's actually going to end up being lower than negative 12, but I've got this symmetry here at negative 12. Okay, but we're going into more depth than we need to for this specific question. It's a quadratic function. It's talking about domain. So that's going to be for all real numbers between negative infinity and positive infinity.